today we have Lashan Browning, who will talk a little bit about, her incredible resume. But as I mentioned, you're from Brooklyn, New York. You're an MTV producer now. You're known for your work with Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, among other things that we'll get into later. But we'd love to hear about how it was growing up in Brooklyn, and we'll kind of kick it off from there.
Okay, I was warned. You're talking to young people. Keep it short and sweet. So I'll keep it short and sweet. Growing up in Brooklyn was amazing. I have a 17-year-old son. It is not the Brooklyn I grew up in, and that's not either good or bad. It's just, I love growing up in Brooklyn. I grew up in a very challenging time of Brooklyn, during the crack era and all of that. But I grew up in a 2-family household. I'm an only child. And I grew up in, a pretty cool environment, but I always lived on the edge and wanted to know, my parents are very strict and all that, but I would go on the other side of Eastern Parkway. So people from Brooklyn don't know what that is. And I was always interested in the entertainment industry, in the behind the scenes of it, always.
Got you. Okay, cool. And I know we kind of broke into a little bit earlier. I'm wearing my Black as Hell t-shirt right today. But love to hear a little bit about your great uncle. I know you had a lot of Michigan ties. From my understanding, he was the only Black man in his graduating class, but we'd love to hear a little bit about his work. And then we'll jump into, your work as well.
Yeah, definitely. His name is James Browning from South Carolina. He is my great uncle. He went to Fisk first, and then he went to University of Michigan, and then he became a prof at Howard University. And he Du Bois, W.E.B. Du Bois. Oh God, I know all of this by heart, but I'm having a brain thing now. All of his peers at that time, they were, those were his peers, and he did a lot of work with Blacks in Mexico, which is, I found out when I knew about this as a kid. I was just like, just not knowing, like, Blacks in Mexico, okay, like what is it? And then I found out, after Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen's mom moved them to Mexico during the Jim Crow South. It's very interesting. I won't do too much talk about it. I'm sure everyone will research it. But then I started to learn the significance of Black people, in Mexico. My uncle was, came from a sharecropping family, and we all pulled ourselves up by the bootstraps. The first Black capitalist, I say. I won't get into that. Black people were the first Black capitalists. They didn't have anybody to go to for anything. You had to strap it up and make it happen, right? And they did. And his life ended, unfortunately, like a lot of people. I mean, just feeling alone and not and misunderstood, and in a league of his own. And that part of it, is pretty sad. But boy, did he do a lot of amazing work. And he didn't have any children. It's just it was a time, when, excuse me for the ignorance, but it was crazy for him to even be interested in what he was interested in and to do what he did. Sometimes it's like that now, right? So I'll make sure a friend sends you a picture. The picture is crazy. He's like sitting off on the side. Did she sit with the graduation
I'll forward it out to
picture?
the rest of. Oh, okay. So I'll definitely forward it out. But I think one thing I will say is that, like, Michigan still is like a bootstrap of a community, and so we definitely definitely still have those same ties. And I really appreciate you sharing that. And I'll definitely share that with the rest of our group so that they
Yeah,
know,
that's cool.
the history, especially with the work with W.D. Du Bois.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so to kind of kick off a little bit about your resume, it's first of all, it's incredible. I mean, you were mentored by Gayle King, you executive produced / consulted for clients such as OWN, which for those who don't know is the Oprah Winfrey Network. And as I mentioned earlier, you executive produced 4 seasons of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And along with this amazing opportunity with Viacom CBS, which we'll get to later, but, really walk us through your path to TV and film industry. And, when did you get that first big break?
There were several big breaks for me. The big break was, again, Brooklyn. Spike Lee was my first big break as a girl. I think I was 20. My age is public, so I can say it. I wish it wasn't public, but at 20 years old, I started working for Spike Lee. I started doing, craft service, making sure food was there on time. I was the happiest craft service person ever. And I really was. And I just wanted everyone to know that I was really serious about learning what happens in the business. And I think when Spike Lee and Monty Ross, John Killick, all of my mentors, they saw that I was serious. They saw that I was hungry. They gave me other opportunities. The next big break, well, I worked on Malcolm X. That was with Spike in the craft service. And then my first big break in a movie was the autobiography of Malcolm X. And I was—
That's a great movie, by the way.
Oh yeah.
That's a classic.
That's a classic. And so I learned so much. I was Wynn Thomas's, he's a production designer. He's the first African-American production designer ever nominated for an Academy Award. And that could be because not so many of, it's all that award stuff can get crazy. But I worked in his department. He's a longtime collaborator with Spike. And I worked as an intern in the art department. And then I got another big break after then. A couple of years later, I was still working with Spike doing videos and commercials. People don't know Spike does a big commercial business, even till this day.
I didn't know that.
Huge commercial business. I mean, because of course on commercial, you can't see who the director is, right?
Yeah.
Right. He has a big, not just Nike, he has a big
I was gonna say the Michael Jordan commercial comes up quite a bit.
Oh man, and the Levi commercials, like this guy's prolific. Yeah, he's amazing. And so Spike, how I ended up moving away from Spike is I'm really big on names. I'm not dropping names to I'm giving gratitude. So many people have helped me, and Jim Bigwood gave me said that there was an opportunity with Ezra Swerdlow and Deborah Schindler because they bought the rights to Waiting to Exhale. Now, at my day, Waiting to Exhale by Terry McMillan was the hugest book situation. Every Black woman, it seemed like, on the planet, was reading that book. The churches, bus ride, book clubs, and I worked on that in Arizona for 6 months. I thought I was everything to work on that. Forrest Whitaker directed it. A lot of people don't know that.
You're coming with the hitters.
Yeah. Forrest Whitaker directed it. And of course, most folks probably, know who was in it. It was a great time for me, socially, of course, but it was masterful in terms of business. And from then, I went on to work on other movies, Sleepers with Barry Levinson. Oh man, this is when you're old. It's hard to track everything, but I did that. And then by the end of the 90s, around 1999, a friend of mine, Ellen LeVar, and this is going back to relationships. I met her. She was Whitney's hairstylist for like 25 years. she and I became super friendly. She's still the bomb. Created a lot of, she hasn't gotten her flowers, but she introduced me to Gayle King. Gayle King said to me, who's a friend of hers, I was complaining to Ellen, I want to do something that's meaningful. I want to do things that matter. I don't want to live in the fictitious world of filmmaking anymore. Very dramatic. She was like, okay, I got something for you. And she's older than me, but she was like, I got something for you. Oprah is doing this network. I'm cool with Gayle. Give me your resume. I'll start making the introduction. Well, the introduction was made, maybe it was 98. And I was able to work on the startup of Oxygen Media, it was called at that time. Mm-hmm. And Carsey Warner Mandabach, Geraldine Laybourne, who helped launch Nickelodeon, Carsey Warner Mandabach, they were partners with Bill Cosby for the Cosby Show at that time. Mm-hmm. Paul Allen, which was Bill Gates's, partner. We're all investors. So I worked on that. I was happy. We were telling real stories, about people. Oprah had made a turn that she wanted to do something on that platform that was more meaningful. So that was how I became, involved in television. Gayle King is single-handedly, and Ellen LeVar, the reason I'm in television.
I have to be frank here. Like, how are you, like, were you not like scared shitless of like meeting these icons? Like, what was your presence like? How did you feel about like working with these people and pitching your ideas and like them actually valuing them? Like, what was that process like?
I mean, not to sound so, by that time, and not to age categorize things, because things happen quicker now, right? With you, with you guys, with younger people, things are quicker. No one would ever think like, oh, you think 10 years was a good time? But for me, coming up with Spike, man, you knew, like, if the idea was bad, or if you didn't open your mouth, or if you didn't say anything, like, and you had to open your mouth and do certain things that could, send you with your tail between your legs, or a good cry in the bathroom. You know what I mean? So I was trained already, like, and not that, I was interacting interfacing at a young, and interacting with at such a young age with so many, Denzel Washington. I mean, we did a Prince. I mean, there's so many people that, Wynn Thomas, Ruth Carter, who got her Star Walk of Fame.
You got to look these up. They got to look these up though. I don't know. You name dropping some people, but they got to look it up. Like, man, these some hitters.
Well, yeah, Ruth Carter was nominated for Academy Award last year. She was also nominated for the Tina Turner movie that with Angela Bassett and Malcolm X. But she finally got her Academy Award. We all just like, we weren't with her. We just burst into tears, man. Like, it's amazing. So these are people that I had to like talk to at such an early age. So for me, yeah, you get a little heartbeat. It was a training that I had. So all of the ideas of stardom and rejection, been rejected so many times, it was like, it just sort of rolled off. So I didn't really have that issue.
So with all this experience that you've had, I know, I imagine some people here, I know, actually I see a few people with the guests that are in the building right now. Like, what is the cost of like, of being in a production perspective, like, being a showrunner or production? Like, how do you go about even getting people to invest in your ideas? Because even if we're not even in the production business, maybe we're in VC or startup, like, how do you go about doing that?
And when you say in ideas, can you give me an example of what the audience would be? Would it be I think funding?
Yeah, I think your angle is definitely translatable. I think from this perspective of like, you've now worked on these shows and now you're getting people to now invest in your production. So like, what did that process go like for you, and what advice maybe we can seek from that?
Yeah, I mean, how the process went for me to get people to invest and, actually, it has to be the belief first, man. That's the truth. Want to do, people have to want to see you succeed and know that you can potentially make them some money. And that the bag that they give you, that you know how to manage that bag and
Mhm.
not, you know what I mean? If
I
that
know what
mean
you
I've
mean.
always been a student, I don't so how I'm here now, I think it's been just a culmination of what I did. For instance, no matter what people think about Love and Hip Hop Atlanta or the franchise, doesn't matter if it's your taste or not your taste. It's a product. It's a product. And it's a
Right.
product that it's an expensive product too. And people don't realize this is not just me going, oh, I'm going to do. There are millions of dollars wrapped around by commercials to support this content.
Right.
Now, that's uh, obviously that's controversial as well, right? Because it's like, oh, of course Pepsi would, buy money, Coca-Cola would do a commercial in front of something that dot 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 dot.
Right.
Um, but for me, it goes back to 40 Acres and a Mule, this Spike's company, where the money was important. The way the money was spent is important.
Yeah.
Knowing how to manage a budget. And it's great that I was so excited to speak to a business group because that's respected in the industry, that you know how to move around numbers, that you respect how money is spent, where it comes from, what it takes to get it, what it takes to keep it, and there's no show. I forget who said this, but there's no show without the business. And I
Right.
learned that early on. And when you do that and connect with power players, and you can make yourself seen with power players, because there are other people who were even my bosses at the time that could just, there were people that didn't want me to succeed. I mean, let's keep it, you know what I mean?
That's
This is not
everywhere.
all right. Like, this isn't all, that's another conversation. But there are people um who weren't in my tribe. And my tribe consisted not of just Black people. My tribe is super colorful, and not all women, not all men, but real players, man, that are like, let me bring her in the mix, because I know I can turn my back and go to dinner and things are going to get done. That's what I was determined to do, to be the last one out of the door, not always jumping in a party if it's a party happening. And I didn't, even though if I wanted to go, I never did. I never wanted anyone, my superiors, to see that I had interest in it. Now, after a while, you're like, wow, I wish I could, but
Right.
after a while you stop getting invited, and that's cool
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you, I know you mentioned a little bit about Love and Hip Hop,
Yeah.
how was it like handling such a controversial show over like those 4 seasons, and what did you take from that experience to help build your brand for future products and to the one that we'll kind of get to with the CBS deal too,
Yeah.
Viacom.
For Love and Hip Hop, I think that though Mona Scott Young gets a bad rap sometimes for being, associated with the show, I was impressed. I've known Mona for a long time, and when she asked me to show run, I gave her all sorts of like, I'm going to do it for a little while, but I don't think I could do it, or whatever. And I ended up doing it for 4 years, not in 2 spinoffs, and I stayed because I saw what Mona doesn't get credit for behind the scenes. I saw how many Black and brown people were employed on the set. I'm talking about not just in front of the camera, the directors, the DPs, the APs, the accountants, the production managers, the talent producers. I mean, and that inspired me, because not since Spike, it may be Waiting to Exhale, had I seen something like that with Black and brown people sending their children to college. I mean, I was so proud to see. There were like kids that entered college and left college by the time, on my run. And it was because they worked on the show. And we shouldn't be any different. We should be able, Black and brown, we should be able to have a career in the industry too, that feeds our families for 30 and 40 years, 50 years. Our children should be able to go, and you guys should be able to say, oh, I remember this woman, Lashan, let me send my son or my niece's resume for an internship. We should have that without having to be a part of an organization. Not that anything's wrong with that, but we know that's thousands of people trying to get that same lick. And I want to give props to her for that, because she doesn't get it enough. And it's not just on Atlanta, it's on Miami, it's on New York, and it's on in Hollywood. And so that was one of the reasons I became, and the talent. You know, those are your cousins, aunties, grandma, everybody, that I knew these people, even though I didn't know them. And I feel that the reason I was able to last, and everything wasn't a flowery day, but I respect, and you can bring any one of them on, even ones that, I've had to, crack the whip, and get them going. They would say, she respects us.
Yeah.
She respects our family. She respects our relationships. But also, it's a business, right? It's a business. You signed up to do an unscripted show. So I think my leverage there is that I didn't lie to them. I reminded them about what the job was about.
Like authenticity.
Yes. And it's gonna be better. It's gonna be so different this season. So it's gonna be a lot. I think it's gonna be 2020 changed a lot of things for programming across the board.
Okay, wait, stop right there, because that's one of my next questions. So, so talk to us about it. You kind of alluded to it, but talk to us about this. I believe it's a 3-year, $250 million deal with Viacom CBS, which from my understanding is to bolster the next generation of creative leaders and business owners. So how did this deal come about, and what do you feel like the end result will look like in the years to come?
Again, I forgot, after television, after Oxygen Media, sort of the interest disbanded. I guess that's a more, people decided, okay, let's move to different places. The principals, I started my own company with Monica Taylor, and my flagship show was Ride with Funkmaster Flex, and that was with Viacom CBS. Okay. And Flex said to us, look, he still is, he's legendary, but
back in the day, he was a beast.
Oh, he was a beast. So he said to us, I love music, but I didn't have any interest in, music industry stuff or whatever. And he said to me and to Monica and I, he said, I want to travel around the country and the world, and people know me as a car guy. I got the other stuff. I got the radio stuff. And he genuinely, we didn't just prop him up and put him against the Chevelle. This guy has a warehouse in the Bronx with the most beautiful cars ever, old schools. So here we are, 2 women walking into a meeting, because I have to know, he said to the president of Spike TV, which was a Viacom brand, which they now rebranded to Paramount Network, I won't be doing the show without them. And they were like, but not doing it without them.
That's
And a
love
lot
right
of
there.
different, oh yeah, that in so much respect, because he knew we were gonna get the job done, and we did. And so so that was a relationship with Viacom that began back in the early 2000s. So I had my own production. We had our own production company at that time, and we did other things, a Lifetime Intimate Portrait with Missy Elliott, and man, we did a lot of projects back then. And then we parted ways amicably. Her children, their children, Flex and Monica are my godchildren. And we wanted to do other things. I wanted to continue in the industry. And I did a show called Starter Wives on TLC. I was doing a lot of consulting, trying to figure things out of what my next play was going to be. And then I did some things, and then Love and Hip Hop came. So the success of Love and Hip Hop and running that show, I mean, that's a budget thing. That's a conflict resolution situation.
Right.
People, so the Viacom CBS deal, it was always in place. I left in 2018. And Nina L. Diaz and Chris McCarthy, who are the presidents of the company, they were watching already, about it, like they would watch any showrunner. In terms of, produce, because when you're a showrunner, I would say we're the president of the principal of that show on the ground.
Gotcha.
And she's always, we kind of talked about what I would do next. I had an overall deal, which basically meant that I can bring projects in to develop. I would, see them through under my brand. But, as of, I forget what month it was last year, we just decided, I would say, like, can I just do it? I could just run this through, my reduction. And I think I said it so many times, they were,
That was just like,
can I just do this pilot? It's not like I don't know how or whatever. And the announcement came out December 3rd, but it was in the works,
yeah.
before. And look, the BIPOC stuff, that's no secret to, that the sign of the times, the sign of the times. And I think you asked about where does that lead us.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, what do you see the future of it looking like?
I think the future of it, we've always been here, but the future of it now is we haven't always gotten the investment, production
Right.
companies. So when Monica and we had peers at the time. I mean, we had a big show on Viacom CBS back in the day, but we had peers, women, who they were courted by the big international companies, and we weren't. We just weren't. And we went to Ride with Funk Master Flex for 8 years, sold in 12 countries around the world. It literally stopped selling. We owned 90% of the show at that time. That's unheard of now. They don't do that now. No, but the reason we were able to, because we were able to bring a talent that we didn't need the talent department to book for us. I mean, we got Eminem on the day he won for Lose Yourself Academy Award. Like, he didn't go to the Academy. He was shooting with us in Detroit.
Classic.
Yeah. So, so from there, I think we with Viacom CBS, they just, they were smart enough to, and business minded enough to say, let's look around, let's see who we have, who we can really, get on the other side of history. And I have to say, they have been trying to do, they've been trying to do it. Nina and Chris have always pushed the envelope internally and been supportive, of us. It's not just the BIPOC, thing. That's just a title, a pool of money that you can, now you can just really spread that around for the next 3 years. And I think it's amazing. And I think it's going to really help people build that infrastructure and get that, get a leg up in terms of support. Because again, it's all about financing. Even if you have a great idea, maybe you do. Who's going to let you come in and manage a $20 million budget that you've never done before? Only a fool, right? so it's that support. It's that co-signing. That's what's important. It's that co-signing. Viacom CBS is, wow. As we know, it's a publicly traded world media company who's, saying Adam Gonzalez and Lashan Browning are our first up with the money, and it's amazing.
So people take notice, and then you'll get some future investments down the line.
Right.
So, you talked a little bit about it too, like how have you guys adjusted, with the industry changes, with the pandemic as well. And, I've seen companies like Quibi who are moving more towards like this short form kind of content. Right. But just curious from your perspective, how do you feel like you have, pivoted, and maybe the industry at large?
Yeah, as you guys probably know, Quibi went down in December. And it could have been a bunch of things. I mean, we don't know. I mean, when I read it, I was like, man, this COVID thing, like last year really shut down a lot of things. But what it also, to me, proved, Jeffrey Katzenberg, I mean, come on, like he was a part of it, right?
Yeah.
But he also got millions upon millions of dollars of investment. So what? It failed. He can go do something else. So again, that goes back to having the co-signing. That goes back, it's difficult for a African American woman to fail at any time, or a man at any time. It's like, that's why we don't do it. It didn't work, So how has it changed? For us, we now look at ourselves as linear, right, which is what we are, and digital platforms. I would say we don't even try to compete with a TikTok or IG Live or, Facebook has its own platform now, because it's too fast. It's too. I mean, you guys we can get off right now and go and do a challenge, or I don't know, hang a doll's head off a terrace, and do. So it's just it's super fast, and TV, to me, no one has said this. And I study it sometimes. It feels more like when you want to go to a movie theater. Like when you want to follow a storyline, when you want to, get to know the characters and get to know about their lives. And I think that's where our the mainstay is for us, that people really do want to be in other people's business. They really want to know what makes people tick and what makes people work. So the smaller, my son doesn't even watch. Like, I've never seen him since he was like 3 sit down and watch a television. It's the craziest thing to me. He just doesn't. And I think we'll just coexist. I don't think that linear television is going to go anywhere. I think that we have to keep innovating, though. That's what's changed. We have to do things and keep up with the time. No more can we be just whatever we put out, whatever we do. There are long meetings and systems in place to, not to stay relevant. I mean, I'm sure Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, like everyone has to do it. And it's a change for us, and we're just keeping up with the change.
You kind of remind me of something too. So, with this deal that you guys are doing, will you be on Paramount Plus as well? Or will you just be strictly, like, how would that deal work out in that perspective in terms of streaming?
Yeah, Paramount Plus next week. The big launch is next week. It would be Viacom, CBS overall. It'll be all the brands. Yeah, it'll be all the brands. And what's so wonderful about Viacom, CBS, and other entities are doing it as well, is if it's something that we think should live on digital, we'll try to do a strategic partnership with Netflix, Hulu, so that's a good thing too. People are smart enough now or savvy enough to know, like, I don't think it's going the other way. I don't think Netflix is coming to linear to but
we'll see.
Well, yeah, you're right. So that's how things are, shaping up.
Got you. Now I'm about to kick off the lightning round, but before I do so, I'd like to hear, you, as I mentioned before, you're mentored by Gayle King, you work with Oprah and so forth. Like, is there one piece of advice that you can share with us as we embark on this next part of our journey that maybe you got from them that, we could take for ourselves?
Yes. Gayle reminded me, I think I was like distraught when she said it. I was about 28. And she reminded me how important it is. And this is not to say no, to understand that it's okay. I didn't really realize what she meant until I got older, until I had my own. And it's not just no, it's just, it's more about self-advocating and not just, and that doesn't have to be at work. I don't want to say, no, it's powerful. But beyond
in terms
that,
of like protecting your space, you mean?
Oh yeah. No, in all sorts of ways. It's not just no, but that was one thing. But relationships are so important. Everything, I learned this early though, and I learned it from being in the Spike world. Holiday parties, I know everybody's like, okay, I read that she's saying some stuff she read out of a book. So true. Everything you do is business. Every conversation you have, I don't care how much you're out for cocktails with your coworkers, everything, keep your business hat on. Keep your business head on. I don't care how much people smile with you. I don't care how good of a feeling it is. Let that work out for a while. That's a long time you need to spend with someone. Build something together. Build something that you both have something to lose.
Right. Don't let them catch you slipping. All right, we got you.
No, not ever. And don't stay at the party so long. Go for a little bit and go home. Show up. Don't take your bag off. Don't put your wallet. Hey, do a drink and leave.
That's the best business school advice right there.
Yes. Don't get caught up in the party and the shine and all of that. Do not get caught up. It has, I've been bitten, and it has bitten more people than it hasn't. Because also you don't want to see how other people are. Do you want to see how people are when they had too much to drink or when they let their shirt down? It's too much. Don't even witness it. Don't be witness to it. Go home.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So let's kick off the lightning round a little bit. It's something that I do customary on Breaking Bread. The first question is, if you could have dinner with anyone you like, who would you invite and why? And you can't go with Gayle or Oprah or any of these. You got to go with somebody
I wouldn't go with. Oh no, I wouldn't go. Oh my God, if she saw this, she would be like, LaShawn, that was so corny. Do they have to be alive?
No, you good. Somebody said Jesus. Somebody said okay.
Nina Simone.
Okay. And
all
why?
Into Nina Simone.
No, I said and why?
Man, she came, not to sound corny, here she is, this woman from North Carolina, grew up, one of 8, went to Juilliard, wanted to be a classical pianist. Like, where did that come from? She wanted to do it. She did it. Someone helped her sponsor. People still thought she wasn't good enough. She became this activist. you know, she was banned for Mississippi, goddamn, you know, by the record industry, which was very telling about what was happening. Meanwhile, during that time, so many people were eating off of artists like her, right?
Right.
She had her, she's so mysterious to me, and so actually Ellen LeBar, who I told you about earlier, she stayed with, she lived with Ellen LeBar back in the 80s, and I became fascinated. I didn't know her then, but when she told me, I was like, oh my God, she's my favorite. I just think that she was a force to be reckoned with, and it did something to her. It did
Did
something to
you
her.
did you watch her documentary on Netflix?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I
I
gotta
didn't
watch that. I
watch
just
the
saw that in the
film.
chat.
I'm not gonna
Okay.
watch the film. I'm not gonna watch the film. Which I love Zoe Saldana. I think she's amazing, but I won't watch that film. It shouldn't have happened. And I'm so happy that she said that. She eventually said it. It's a role she
Yeah,
shouldn't have taken. Yeah.
I got you. I got you. All right. So kind of rolling into that too, like what's one TV or movie producer that you feel like is being slept on right now?
Again, we're so kept in a closet, you know, like locked away. Deborah Martin Chase. Deborah Martin Chase is, I don't know. Deborah Martin Chase did Crossroads, Britney Spears' first movie. She did Princess Diaries with Whitney Houston and Brandy. She did Harriet, which is the most recent. I mean, oh my God, the Cheetah Club for TV show. Like, and she came up. Yeah, she used to be Denzel Washington's, run his company, Mundy Lane. Here's a woman who is a force in, we don't know who she, I mean, you don't know who a lot of producers are because we play the back, you know, and that's where what we love. But Deborah Martin Chase is bad, man. That's a bad sister right there. Yes,
Oh,
and she
I
produced.
wrote it down. I wrote it down. I got to take notes.
Yes, yes, she's amazing. She probably doesn't remember, but I used to talk to her when I was Ezra Swirlow's assistant on Waiting to Exhale. She was at Mundy Lane. Oh, and she used to run Whitney Houston's company, Brownstone. She did Sparkle. She did Preacher's Wife. Yeah, look her up. She's bad. Yeah, she's cool.
That's what's up. That's what's up. You're giving us notes.
A lawyer,
Next question.
by training. Lawyer by training.
Okay, okay.
She went to Harvard
So,
Law.
got you. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you for sharing that. What do you feel like is what is your favorite series right now as well? Do
Lupin.
you have one on Netflix? What's that?
Lupin. That's the French based
They
on the French
snapping. They
book.
snap.
What are they saying? Do they like it too?
They love it too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I haven't seen it.
Please see. Okay, I can't stop blushing. It is the best. I love it. I hope they do a second season. And now that everyone likes it, I'm getting ready to find out who the producers. I hope they're doing a second season. It's amazing. It's a Black man. It's an African man who's the lead role, and he does all these. It's based on the book Lupin. I'm getting goosebumps. It is. Please watch it and let me know. Let me know what you guys. Seriously, it's good. It's good.
That's what's up. The chat is going crazy right now. Okay, so my last one I got for you is, what is a music lyric or movie line that you live by? And if you could try and not say Jay-Z, because everybody says Jay-Z, do you have one that's not Jay-Z?
I have. Okay.
You had a Jay-Z line. I knew it.
No. I got a Biggie line, but I'm not.
All right.
But it's not appropriate, so I'll leave that alone. I'll leave Big alone. But I love Jay-Z. I love Big. And this may sound. It's not about a man though. But for some reason, I always tell myself this I guess it's a race thing or a gender thing. Missy Elliott wrote it for Whitney Houston. It's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it anyway. Not all the other stuff I'm not thinking about. That is, for some reason, it just sticks with me. you know, and it's not right with a lot of different things, you know. I'm gonna make it anyway. So that's my thing.
I like it. I like it. It speaks to your resilience
Yes.
and your persistence, especially throughout this industry. So I appreciate you sharing that. It definitely
Yes.
bodes well. And now you gave me some shows and some producers to have on my watch. I can't thank you enough for that.
And a
I know we're
movie
kind of.
line is from The Godfather,
Oh,
and I have many.
let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Never
Let's hear it.
turn. You never go against the family. Never go against the family. But yeah.
I fuck with
Yes.
it. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yes.
Before we let you go, I know we're running close on time.
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions, please just come off mute and go ahead and ask. This is your one time. If not, we'll end it here. But before just Lashan, thank you so much for your time. This was incredible.
Yeah, thank you for having
you giving us
me.
gems. You came in hot with the pink. Appreciate it. Appreciate you so much. So anybody, if you want to raise your hand or just hop off, it's fine. Don't be shy.
They're like, she talked enough already. We ready to go.
Well, it doesn't look like
Justin, I got one question, if that's okay.
Okay. Let's go.
Perfect. Thank you for your time, Lashan. I really appreciate it. My question was around, you mentioned earlier, kind of some of your advice was like protecting your peace most, but you also mentioned before that how you tried to grind and be the first one in, last one out. And I'm curious how you balance that, especially with the family too, and how you kind of find time for yourself and your family while also managing and trying to strive in your career as well.
Great question. For me, I knew early before I had a family. I did it so early. There was no, I trained myself, as a girl. I was 20, 19. So I didn't have a good balance at that point because I feel I never lived my 20s, or my 30s, whatever. Because I said that was purposeful for me. Now I don't have to be the last one, the last one out of the door. But in terms of, I don't know if you guys have read this book. Shonda Rhimes wrote a book, the book of this Year of Yes. And it is about balancing, like she said when Sandra Oh was winning an Emmy and her kid had a swim meet the same time. She had to decide which one she was going to do. And for me, that's been hard because the industry, I don't think, most industries, but specifically film and television, wasn't created for women, married women, women with children. It's a man's world and a man's game. No one wants to hear, oh, I got to go and take my kid to the dentist. Oh, my husband's wrist is broke. Things have gotten, they're different than when I was coming up, because young folks are just like, hey, I got to go do what I got to do. There are different laws now. You can't just, work people to the bone. For me, it is difficult. As a woman, it has been difficult to, and you lose some and you win some. The game is so hard and so hard to stay in and to be recognized and to earn a living. It's just never was any time for anything else. Kind of sad, huh?
Nah, it's real. Hey.
No, I love it though. I love it.
Before you ask, let me go straight over to Bree first, and then I got you, Summer. All right.
Thanks, Justin. Thank you, Lashan, so much. This is. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. This is incredible. I really appreciate your time today.
No problem.
I had a question more so around goal setting. I think a lot of times when you think about industries that aren't as linear, and paths that aren't as linear, trying to map out your next step and kind of map out your goals, for me at least, seems a bit like unclear. So what is that balance behind, I guess, intentionality and also serendipity of right place, right time, but also having a level of clarity upon your goals? Like what has that looked like for you?
I mean, for me, and I don't want to sound corny or not helpful. When I tell you I brainwashed myself to focus on, I still do. Hollywood Reporter. I mean, now it's Deadline, Variety. I mean, we used to have to go get those from the newsstand, right? Like everything, Bloomberg, CNBC, like I watch everything that has to do with the market, not just the entertainment market, because those markets have something to do with advertising. So I became a student of everything, of who's working behind the camera, who's making the moves there's some really impressive Black women sitting at the top of stuff at ABC, NBC. I know who they are. I follow them. I follow what they're doing. And what has that done? That allowed me to be in conversations, even at a young age, with players, with John Killick, with Monty Ross. I was able, and it was surprising. I'm a woman and I was super young. I was your age. So I'm like, oh yeah, and that's something that, John Singleton just got that 6-figure deal at Columbia. So I always had so much information that when I got in the room and when I'm around certain people, I could talk shop. That's a good thing, talking shop. It's being able, real shop, that they can feel like you're an asset to them, because it's all, it's all business, not just cool shit. That's what everybody, it's all business and how much people trust you to handle their business. Did I answer you? No?
No, you did. I really appreciate that.
Okay, good. Yes. If you're interested in anything, become a student of it. That if you sit next to Mark Zuckerberg on the plane, he's going to be like, or whomever, like, okay, I gobble everything. Yeah.
I love that. Like always staying relevant, always staying in the conversation so that it never gets
Always.
away from you and you always staying relevant. Yeah.
Always.
Appreciate you sharing that. I think we have one more question.
Yeah, I think that kind of answered what my question was. Mine was just around imposter syndrome. And even sometimes I feel like when you do that, you are that student behind whatever you're doing. As a Black woman, you tend to doubt yourself. So I was just wondering about advice and overcoming that, as Black women in any field where we tend to be the minority. So I was just curious.
I mean, I don't know if people, sometimes I looked at it as a flaw, but now I look at it as a gift. I'm not going into a room and blowing it up that everybody's scared or whatever. I have a deep voice. I'm a tall woman. I'm not a petite lady. I'm not, I gotta, keep it real with you guys. Like, you can't sexualize me out the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not interested in. If I want to do that, I don't need to do it here, So for me, it's been, coaches, therapy. When I had my son, I had postpartum, and it's and not that was related, to work. I don't know what, it was actually related to, I think I looked over and I didn't want to, thank God, hurt him. But I think I looked over and my husband was like, something's not right with you. Something's not right. And I looked and I said, yeah, something's not right. And when I drilled down on it, I realized I had been moving. I had my son at 33. I realized I was moving so fast and was able to do and stay and go away for 6 months and work on the movies, do 14, 15, 16-hour days and drill it out. And my life changed. And that's something that I started, and my dad passed away. There are things that happened in my life that I could have definitely been out of the game. But because, I had some great support, like, don't get me wrong, everyone in my family was like, be a lawyer, be a doctor, this was like, you're playing around, girl. What you mean? My dad would drop me off at 40 acres going, So you going here for free? This is where you stay? Then my mother got in the car too to see where I was being dropped. Like I had everything, you know, they thought I wanted to be an actress. I never said that. It's just the only thing they could conceptualize. So that happened with my uncle too, that I talked about in the beginning, right? Even though he was an educator, people were like, why are you going around all of these white people who are gonna doubt you and treat you like crap? Why are you choosing to do this? And what I decided to do is be myself. You're not gonna be, it's not about, you're not gonna say nothing to me that I don't want you to say. Standing in my power. And guess what? The people who are strong, the people who have the right conviction, the people who really want to mess with you and want to mentor you and sponsor you, they're going to love that about you. And the people that don't, didn't want to be bothered anyway. And that sounds so, you know, girlfriend on the phone talk. That's absolutely true. And not saying that, you know, you don't want to scare, you know, because people are, you know, with Black women, oh, is she angry? You know, but I don't know if that's your thing. I would say be calmer than I was. I'm just like, because I'm older, you know, I came up, so people got to know me. They're like, oh, she upset about something, but I earned that. I earned that. They know that if I'm beefing like that, somebody's done something wrong and it has to do with work. But, you know, just know who your better self and your not so great self is, and put your better first and work on that stuff that you know runs people away. We know it runs people away personally, and it's going to run people away professionally. Just keep that part in check. Be honest with yourself.
Everyone's thanking you so much in the chat. You definitely dropping some gems. I know, oh yeah, everybody's dropping now, but just wanted to say thank you so much, Lashan, for your time. This was incredible. You kept it real the whole time, which is what we all asked for.
Yes,
this is a perfect way to end this two-part series, and I look forward to continuing in conversation and give you updates on all this, this info you've given me.
Yes, please do. And also about, I mean, I guess I can find out about the scholarship thing, but hit me with that too when you get a chance.
I got you. Don't worry about it. We'll talk definitely offline.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your week.
Okay, you too. Thank you.